Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Blackpack Homestead. Today on the homestead we're going to be doing some spring foraging. We're going to look around. It's April 20th today. This is a springtime forage, guys. Word of wisdom, guys. Don't eat something if you don't know what it is. Just don't do it. Have a guide show you. Do your research. A lot of the stuff that we're looking at today can also be used medicinally, so something to consider. But if you're unfamiliar with the channel, me and my wife here, we harvest chickens and rabbits and quail. We live on a little, just under an acre here in the Appalachian Mountains here of western North Carolina. Yeah, let's do it, guys. What we're looking at there is a violet. That is a wild violet. Something we kind of keep going here at the homestead. If you notice stuff that's popping up on the property, we let it do its thing. It's just covert gardening, guys. If you're a survivalist, it's something that you probably need to study on, and if you're a homesteader, it's something you probably need to be studying on, and if you're just the average person, you probably need to be studying on it too. So know your environment. This is how people used to do it back in the day. Word of warning, if you've never done it before, give it the test, guys. Rub it on your skin, you know, put it in your mouth, chew on it a little bit, wait a little while, just a little bit, wait a while. But most of the things that we're looking here today are pretty safe, so I don't think you'll have a problem with that. Now these violets were actually used as a candy. You take their flowers, you would, get them dry and put confectionate sugar on it. It's great. It's a great little treat. Now what you want to eat on the violet is you can eat the flowers and you can eat the leaves. You should never have a problem with it. It is a bit mucinogenic, I guess. Mucinogenic? No, mucinalagic. Yeah, there's a big difference there, guys. It's mucinalagic. Don't want to eat a lot of it because it has a slickeriness to it. And yeah, little bits at a time, guys. All right, what you're looking at there is chickweed. Chickweed is probably the closest thing you're going to get to lettuce in the way of wild foraging. It's very good. It's very succulent. It's very, like lettuce. It's very juicy. And yeah, it just grows all over my property. I ripped a bunch of it out of my beds here. But of course, we let it kind of do its thing too. So we feed it to the chickens. A lot of the things here that we're eating here today can also go to your animals. So keep that in mind. If you ever want to give your rabbits some wild forage, I suggest you do it in little increments and get them used to it too. You don't want to shock your system. What I was showing you there is a little bit of henbit, otherwise known as dead nettle, or as Morella likes to call it, death nettle. But it's okay, in the way of wild foraging, it's okay. Most of the wild forage that you can find, you'll find it in the fields, guys, but if you can get it in the shady areas, they're always more tender. So keep that in mind as you're doing your forage. If you get it about time where it's flowering, it'll have a bitterness to it. That's probably past its prime. And what we were looking at there is dead nettle, otherwise known as henbit. Everybody knows this plant, dandelion, guys. It's edible from the flower down to the root. I mean, you can eat it all. One word of warning is that dandelions can be a diuretic. It will drain you of your water. So yeah, don't eat a bunch of them unless you got hydration. There is a few lookalikes for dandelion, but for the most part, if it's got a jagged leaf to it, cat's ear looks very similar, but I'm not sure too much about the cat's ear. I think even though it may be edible, it's not really great. It'd be like, eating a cat's ear. Dandelions were actually brought here with the settlers, and it has spread all over the place. It's just something that, yeah, it's one of the easiest forages you can get, really. What we have here is cleavers, and cleavers usually, like chickweed, will pop up twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. They actually have a square stem. It's one of those things. It's also known as stick tight or cleavers, because if you're walking through the woods, and this is also good binding material, guys, if you need to bind stuff together, it's like Velcro. It's nature's Velcro right here. You can eat it. You can eat it. What that is clover. Clover is something that grows throughout people's yards. Oftentimes they don't like it. It has a little white plume that comes up. And I like the plume. The plume, guys, is nutty. I mean, it's very nutty. And it's one of my favorite wild forage feasts, I guess, snacks. And the whole plant is edible. You can eat the greens, you can eat the flowers. Word of advice though, if you're going to eat the flowers, make sure they're fresh flowers. You don't want old flowers. It actually will grow a mold that they found coumadin. That's how coumadin was developed. They were actually finding the cattle that was eating it out in the field just dead. With all clovers, they will have that little white marking on them. What we have there is some wild lettuce, guys. Looks a lot like dandelions. It'll fool you. I'm gonna flip this thing around and let you see why and how to identify it. See, it's got little hairs right here on the center vein. That's how you identify your wild lettuce. If it looks like a dandelion, has spines on the back of it, it's probably what it is. You have to look at the flower and obviously identify it. But yeah, we keep it around. You know, you could use it for medicine should you need. But my problem is it's the bane of my existence, guys. I can't get rid of the stuff. Just running the farm here, it pops up, it happens. So yeah, wild lettuce. What we have here is a China berry, or a red cap, a black cap. They grow all over the premises here, and it's just something that we've been bending down and creating more of these things. What you were seeing there is a China berry or a wine berry. It's part of the blackcap family, and these here are red. They don't get as big as the blackberries, but guys, they're sweeter and they will make your fingers really sticky. So yeah, I prefer these over the blackberries just taste wise. And if you come across them, they will have that red stem that runs up the center of them. Yeah, wine berry. All right. What you were seeing there is dock. There's couple kinds of dock. This one here is like a curly dock. The burdock is the one that gets really big, guys. You'll know it when you see it. If you're familiar with this plant, the burdock is the big one. So, yeah, the best part is the root, guys. You're gonna have to work for it. We leave a lot of the stuff here on the property. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty. If I had to hunker down for a while, I could probably do it. It's a plethora of meals, guys. A plethora of meals. So, hey, if you guys can wild forage, in my honest opinion, it is a lot easier than gardening, and you will have a more rugged garden, something you won't have to water as much, and I kind of give it the advantage. I see if something's beating something else, I'll give it the advantage. You don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. Nature does a lot of the work for you, and I really enjoy it. I mean, you know, all these plants, they're free and they're here. Well, guys, because this is a springtime forage, what we're looking at here is all the stuff that comes up in the early spring. Obviously, there's a lot of different stuff that will pop up in the summertime and fall. But this is it, guys. April 20th today. This is what I'm working with. So even at April 20th, guys, there's plenty of veggies going around. At least, you know, here on the premises, if you know what you're looking at. Look, you see that? What is that, guys? Quick test for you. That's Queens and Lace, guys. We've been letting them do their thing naturally. And yeah, I have yet to pull one of these up and eat it, but I'll go for the greens before I would have to work for a root. Even though the root has got a lot of energy in it. Look at that. Test, guys, I'm testing you. What is it? It's wild onions. Wild onions. So yeah. Okay, guys, what is it? It's a ramp. That's what it is. Yeah, so if you're not in the mountains or high elevations, it's probably not one you're going to find. Okay, guys, tell me what this plant is. It's got a white flower. Very succulent. If you said chickweed, you are correct. You are correct. Remember, guys, while hunting and finding your chickweed, make sure it's white, not blue. Blue will make you blue. White is alright. It's the way to remember it. Alright, name the plant, guys. If you said plantain, you're right. That's narrow-leaf plantain. That plant was plantain broadleaf. If you notice, both plantains will have a spike that come up and then a little white tuft at the top. It's a pretty surefire way to identify this plant. It's a very simple plant to identify, and one of the more nutritious ones. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode of Blackpack Homestead, foraging wild edibles in the spring. And tomorrow or next episode, I may have to do you guys one up about stealth gardening. Man, that flock smells good. We'll do some stealth gardening videos, slightly different from the wild foraging videos. There's a lot of stuff in there that has yet to pop up. That tends to be more of a summertime wild edible edition. So until next time at the Blackpack Homestead, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye-bye. God bless.